Hello, sister. So excited you're here. Welcome to the Hood. Sisterhood in 60. My name is Christy Little-Jones, and this is my co-host, Nicole Clough. And thank you so much for joining us for today's show. So today we are taking off the mask. We are bearing it all. Clean beauty inside and out. So did you know that 60% of what you put on your body is absorbed through your bloodstream? 60% of what you put on your body is absorbed through your bloodstream. And even more so, what you put into your mind and into your heart through your thoughts is absorbed 100%. This is what we're talking about today. Clean beauty inside and out. And so that is what we are going to be talking about today. Sisters, so excited that you're here. Thank you. We're talking about toxins that you put, the many, many toxins that you put on your body that you have no idea are toxins, and toxins that you put in your body that you have no idea are harming you and your entire life. And so let's talk about what is clean beauty, because I had no idea what clean beauty was. And so sis, tell us what clean beauty is all about.
Well, it's so interesting you say that. Hello, everyone. My name is Nicole. I'm so excited that you're joining us for Clean Beauty tonight. And I absolutely, it was like, yeah, what is clean beauty? And so a couple of years ago, one of our besties introduced us to what is known as BeautyCounter. And they pride themselves on staying on the top of the industry where clean beauty is concerned. They removed all of these 1,800 toxins. They have this never list where these are 1,800 toxins you will never find in a BeautyCounter product, which is absolutely so amazing. And so clean beauty are just products that are mindfully created, and they're products without proven or suspected toxic ingredients. There are so many of them. And, you know, anytime you can just look on the back of something and there's like, you know, the word is so long, you have no idea what it means. Probably that's a toxin. And there are so many of them that are very harmful to our bodies. And so clean beauty are products that include ethically sourced ingredients in it, and they're just made healthy for our bodies and healthy for the environment. And so tonight we want to talk about the importance of having clean beauty.
Exactly. Thank you. So living in today's society where obesity is really becoming a chronic condition, in addition to the hormones that we are just find in so much of our food. And you can see the effects that it's having on our children. We all need to take a closer look on how we can take more ownership and responsibility on what we can put on our bodies. And so I want, Nicole, if you can talk a little bit about what toxins do people really need to be aware of? Because again, when Tony introduced clean beauty to us and what BeautyCounter was doing to really change policy in our country, I was, you know, being even a health educator for as long as I was, over 20 years, I hadn't heard of clean beauty before and didn't realize that the lotions and the moisturizers and the scrubs and the different things that we put on our body was being absorbed by our bloodstream. I had no idea. So tell us a little bit about what toxins do our viewers need to be aware of?
Well, there are 1,800 of them.
We're gonna be here for a long time.
We will go through all those tonight, right? So there are 8 of them, and I'm going to have to put this down in the notes so you can go and look at this yourself, because there's too much of it to read. But it's very important that I at least extract a few things for you to know and be aware of and to pay attention to. The biggest, and you're going to see so many products that say this right now, are parabens. And they're commonly used as preservatives to deter bacterial and mold growth. They are a toxic chemical, and they're mainly found in cosmetics and shampoos. You'll see it paraben-free, sulfate-free. It's another one of those chemicals that you want to stay away from. But listen to this. A study published in Toxicology in April 2007 reported that parabens could elevate estrogen levels through inhibiting estrogen sulfur transfates in the skin. So in other words, just putting parabens on our bodies and our hair, it's elevating our estrogen levels. And that is throwing off a lot of our endocrine system. We have these hormone things that are going on, people going into early menopause and various things going out, people not being able to conceive, and just all types of internal issues going on hormonally with low hormones, high hormones, Hashimoto. There are so many things that our bodies are affected by where hormones are concerned, and parabens are a culprit. Formaldehyde. Do you remember biology?
Yeah.
And formaldehyde was for preserving dead insects and animals, right? That's one thing you want to stay away from, formaldehyde. It's another endocrine system disruptor. Fragrance is a big one. That's in everything. Is it trilocicin? This was in hand sanitizer, and they were finding that this was absolutely terrible for us. It's an antibacterial soap. So the things that's supposed to be good for us is actually bad for us. And there are 8 other items, that I have listed, but coal tar, let me just share this one. Okay. This is a big one because there are a lot of people who may need to use dandruff shampoo, or they may have really bad psoriasis in their hair. It's a byproduct of coal, of course, and it's a toxic chemical. And what this does is it damages your DNA, like to the very cellular. It's a carcinogen, and it actually disrupts, your DNA. So these things are dangerous, and it's terrible that there are only 11. A lot of these chemicals are banned in other countries, but guess how many the United States has banned?
Out of 1,800?
Out of 1,800.
How many?
Just take a wild guess.
500.
11. 11 people. 11. So please be very, very, seek out clean beauty products. Please seek them out.
Now, when you say seek them out, is this a new phrase? I'm not even sure. Like clean beauty, is this something that's fairly new? Because, kind of growing up, I didn't really learn about clean beauty, but I'm seeing a little bit more descriptions on different body products and, cosmetics and skincare and things like that say clean beauty. So what is it do you know what we should be looking for?
Well, I don't know all of the things that we should be looking for. I know some of the things we should not be looking for, but I have such a handy tool that helps with these things. There are 2 apps out there right now that are so good for these types of situations where you're out in the store and you want to just pick up a bottle of lotion. Like it took me literally 10 minutes to find some lotion. Like we just used to go in to grab lotion, the lotion that we like, we just grab it right off the shelf. But I have this app, it's called YUKA. And what you do is you scan the barcode and it'll tell you if it's good, if it's poor, if it's excellent, and it'll give you a rating for it and tell you what to stay away from it. It lists all of the chemicals on it. And I'm like, this is amazing because all those lotions that I used to just grab and pick up, I don't do that anymore. So it's like, it takes me a little longer. And guess what? Clean beauty is not inexpensive, like everything else in this world. Right. But clean beauty is going to cost you a little bit. but it's actually really helping you a lot. So take the time, invest in yourself, invest in clean beauty. Another app that will help you with is called Think Dirty. Isn't that clever?
I love it.
So
YUKA
it
and
will help
Think
you make
Dirty,
those decisions.
right? And tell us a little bit about Think Dirty.
So Think Dirty works the same way. You have to scan the barcode and it'll tell you what in it is not good, whether, something you stay away from. And I think another good thing is it saves this information for you as well. So you don't have to keep being a repeat offender for certain things. It's like, it'll keep it listed. This was poor, this was good, this was bad. It also does that for different drinks like bars and drinks and things like that may have some things in it that aren't good for you. So it's really a great app. You should check them out.
Absolutely. And all of this is going to be in the show notes for you. So please be sure to take a look at that once we're finished so that you can download these amazing apps. And so let's go ahead and talk a little bit about our skin. Now, we have nothing on, ladies.
Like, really?
Nothing. Totally bare. And that's why I said we are taking off the mask, because how many of us would want to do a live YouTube with nothing on? No lashes, no, like not filling in our eyebrows, not no lips. We have lip gloss on, right? No foundation. And this, I believe, is because of our skincare regimen, that we can come and do a live YouTube show with nothing on our skin but amazing clean beauty products by BeautyCounter. And so we're going to talk a little bit about our skincare regimen. I have been doing my skincare regimen for literally 35 years. So I'm 51 years old, and 35 years, I've been doing some type of skincare regimen. Started when I was in high school. And this is something that, I don't know if it was my mom who introduced it to me, but I had a regimen and I love my skincare regimen. I love it morning and night. I mean, I just relish in it. I love the way it feels. And I'm just having a really great time with myself, taking care of my skin. And I have for over 30 years. So, sis, tell us a little bit about your kind of journey to skincare and your regimen.
Well, it's so interesting. I have not been doing a daily, twice a day skincare regimen for 30 years, and I am 53. And for me, I did when you're younger, you do the 1006, you do the Noxzema, you do Neutrogena, you have all these different things that you put on your skin and you try out. But I really didn't appreciate back then, my skincare regimen, because I wasn't a person who wore a lot of makeup. So you feel like, you don't have to, do your skincare regimen like I do it now. And so it was just a lack of education, because, we hear that old adage, black don't crack. Well, honey, let me tell you something. Yes, it will. Yes, it will if you don't take care of it. Okay.
For sure.
So for me, I started my journey just with these clean beauty products. Now, I've used a particular brand for years and years and years, and I loved what I thought that it did for me. But I noticed a difference. Not only did I notice a difference, literally when I started using BeautyCounter, I cannot begin to tell you how many people are like, oh my gosh, what are you doing with your skin? Like, oh my gosh, I sold so many products by people just saying, oh my gosh, what are you using? And I'm like, it's BeautyCounter. So for me, I enjoy it. I love the way it makes my skin feel. It is probably one of the best investments that I made in myself, is my daily skincare regimen.
Exactly. I love it. So BeautyCounter is what we're going to talk a little bit about today. And so what I love about BeautyCounter is they kind of help you from start to finish. So if you've never really done any kind of regimen, you maybe use Dove soap and maybe some lotion that you put on your body, right? To kind of, because your face feels dry. This is something that may be new to you. And so we want to kind of take you through some of those steps. So when you go to BeautyCounter, and I'm going to actually put this on there. So when you go to BeautyCounter, there is a skincare test where they will ask you different questions about your skin, certain goals, desires that you would like to have with your skin, and then it will give you your specific skincare regimen. Now, if you are over probably 40, you'll have what we have, which is called counter time. And we'll talk to you a little bit about that. If you have dry skin, if you have oily skin, combination skin, it'll give you your regimen. And that's where you get started in then purchasing some of those products. So I want to talk a little bit, sis, about what we're going to do is going to be really fun. So Nicole is going to actually be our model, right? And she's actually going to show you how she cleans her face. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the products because we use the same ones. And then we'll talk a little bit about how much, like our favorites and the ones that we love.
Oh, absolutely.
So, sis, you want to go ahead and start talking just a little bit about like, what do you do when you kind of start your regimen?
Okay. So my favorite time to do my regimen is at night. In the morning, I don't do it as complete as I do at nighttime because I really like to hydrate my skin in the evening. So this is amazing. It's called the Lotus Glow Cleansing Balm. This is my absolute favorite. I would take this everywhere with me. It's so amazing. Glass jar. Everything BeautyCounter does is recyclable. So I think that is amazing that they do that. But if you can just look inside, it's literally a balm. It's absolutely, you could probably see that there.
Yeah.
Literally a balm. And it's amazing. You can just kind of wash your face with this and it feels like, oh my gosh, I'm already moisturized. I don't need to put on anymore. So this is a great way to start your cleansing.
So now let me show you what I use. This one is called the Lipid Defense Cleansing Oil. Now I've never really, right? I've never really used a oil to cleanse my face because I felt, it's supposed to be drying, right? No, this was everything. And it's like cleansing your face with oil. Now, have you ever heard of double washing? This is a thing. Have you heard of that?
I've never heard of that.
Yeah, they have this thing where you have double washing, where you're supposed to double wash your face.
Oh,
I never heard that. Yes. And so with a cleansing oil to really make sure you get all of the dirt and the impurities. So you can only imagine that, especially those of us who have allergies, we literally walking through the day, there are so many things that are just kind of falling on our face, right? Lots of dirt. And so it's really important for you to wash your face, especially at night. And then in the morning, you really just make sure that you clean your face, because you'd be surprised when you clean your face in the morning, there's dirt on it, right?
Yeah. There's still some stuff that's left over that came out of your pores while you're sleeping.
So this Lotus Balm that Nicole is using, you just put it all over your face, and then you use a washcloth to wipe it off.
Yeah. So what I usually do is what they tell you to do is just wet it a little bit so that you can get sort of like a milky substance to it. It's kind of hard to see that because of the light, but I just put a little water to just activate it a little bit. Always go in upward motions. You know that, right?
Yes.
Because we don't want to, and I would do this tonight, but I don't want to get it all over my shirt, but you usually actually do it under your neck as well. And then you just wipe it off. It's really just that simple. You just wipe it off, and a lot of that moisture is left behind, which I love.
Yes. Nice. Love it. And then after you take that off, what is the next product that you use typically?
So after this, I would use, and you have it, is the Hydrating Essence, which is amazing. And it's really like your toner, right? So it's what's going to help your pores after you've washed them. It's actually going to take care of a lot of those free radicals that come to your skin, which actually does the breakdown for those fine lines and wrinkles. So that Hydrating Essence, just want to make sure I have all of this off.
And what I love, one of the things about this is a lot of people think that they're supposed to put it on a cotton ball and rub it along,
Right.
but
No.
literally I have had this for over a year. And, and really you use it on your hands. You just literally pour some on your hands and then
Pat it.
literally pat it over your
Mhm.
face.
Yeah. And
Right?
that's exactly what I'm about to do.
Yep.
And I mean, like, BeautyCounter, a little dab goes a long way. Like, I don't even think you can see that, but it's
Right.
really not that much. And that's all you need.
Exactly. And it's really hydrating.
It is. You can feel
And
it.
that is the secret. So the reason why my kids who are 16, 17, and 18 years old, why their friends think that I'm 30 something years old, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is because I really moisturize. I've been moisturizing since I was probably 18 years old. And moisturizing under my eyes and moisturizing all over and my neck. And literally, I don't have the wrinkles that, the many of my fellow 51-year-olds have. And I think a lot of it has to do with moisture for sure.
It does. It does. It does. And I'm like trying to, play catch up right here a little bit.
So then after you do the essence, then what's the next step?
We get to my favorite thing. So daytime, let's talk about favorite thing. And I already had some of this on for today. So this is my vitamin C serum. It has turmeric in it. It has like 3 different types of Japanese citrus in it. It smells amazing. It is the best, the best, the best. It's a yellow in hue, but of course it doesn't go on. It doesn't leave that hue on your face, but this is amazing. Like, you need to drink this. It's so good.
This is my favorite.
Yes.
I love how it comes in like little minis.
Yep.
Traveling, one of my other favorite things in the world, traveling. And it not only does it smell good, but it just feels so good. And you know that you're really taking care of your skin. It helps with evening, like, brightening and blotches. And it's wonderful. I love it.
I've heard such great testimonies from some of the people who have used this, some of my clients actually, and she talked about how she had some marks on her skin from years ago when she, was younger, and it has actually started to reverse some of those blotches and images on, marks on her face. So I thought that was pretty awesome.
Exactly.
So the next thing that I would use is my Tripeptide Radiance Serum. A little bit goes a long way here for that. I'm not sure if you can see that. Actually, that's a little bit too much, to be honest. And so, same thing. Yeah, my face is going to be very, very moist here. I'm going to be shiny. Exactly. Sure. That was way too much. So 1 pump is good. That was like 2. And I'm like overdoing it here with the Radiant Serum. Yeah. But this helps with fine lines and wrinkles, tightens up your skin, and works with your pores as well.
And so be sure to stay with us for the duration, because we are going to transition to talk about toxins that we put in our bodies through our minds. So stay tuned for that.
I know. We appreciate you being here this long, but we really feel that this is important, ladies, because we have so many issues hormonally in this country. Kids are starting their cycles. It's 6 years old. Like, that's just absolutely ridiculous. And a lot of things have to do with, bubble baths and fragrance, and a lot of these, companies that make these wonderful lotions and body sprays and scrubs. It's really harmful to your bodies. So this is why we're doing this. Okay, last thing, and then this is it. This really takes just a few minutes, honest. And it's going to do you good. You're going to see a difference literally within, I would say, a week.
Definitely.
A few days.
Yeah, for sure.
So my favorite of all time is the with Supreme Cream. I always will call it the serum again, but it's the Supreme Cream. It's super, super thick. This is probably, once again, a little bit too much, but you can't get enough of this. Like, really, you really cannot. And this is your moisture for the night. This is amazing. Like when
It
you wake
does.
up in the morning and your skin is just soft and supple and moist, you will love this. And that's it, ladies.
And so, some of the other things that I use, like I said, I live by eye cream. So this is the Counter Time eye cream,
Mm-hmm.
and I use this morning and night. The other thing that I really love is they have this a brightening facial oil. So in the winter time, when it's really dry in DC, I use this as my moisturizer, like
Mm-hmm.
morning and night.
Yes, my favorite
And
too.
definitely. And then they have something called the overnight resurfacing peel, which is awesome. And it really, you use this instead of your moisture, like in front of your moisturizer. So after
Mm-hmm.
you do your regimen, you put this on and kind of let it dry a little bit, and then you can put your moisturizer on top of it.
Mm-hmm.
But this is a resurfacing peel that you use twice a week. And then this charcoal mask. Listen, it comes with this little tool that you use, like you put on here and then like you literally are like putting it all on your face. And then it's dark gray and then it turns light gray. That's when it's kind of dry. And then you just
Mm-hmm.
wipe it off.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can literally like slough it off with the one side or the other, kind of pulling it off of your face. Very, very cool. And I do that. Usually once a week. You can do
Mm-hmm.
it twice a week, but I usually do once a week. And so these products have been a,
Mm-hmm.
just a game changer. And I had a really great regimen before, and so I thought, right? And it's been a game changer. And so we would love for you to just even try one of the products. And so if there was one product, sis, that you would recommend people to get, what would it
Vitamin C serum. Like, this is going to be your best friend ever. Like, even if you're like, I don't want anything from BeautyCounter, I promise you, you will not be disappointed with this product.
be?
I
Absolutely.
promise.
I agree. That is my favorite for sure. And so all of the links, everything that you need are in the show notes. So be sure to go there. And if you have any questions to reach out to us, that's in the show notes as well. And so now we want to talk a little bit, because we've talked a little bit about clean beauty. We
Mm-hmm.
want to shift and focus from our face and our skin to our hearts and our minds.
Yes.
Mm,
Okay, let's go.
let's get it. So let's talk a little bit about harmful mind toxins. So, okay, let's go ahead and talk about the toxins that you've allowed to creep into your body, into your heart. Let's talk a little bit about them. Jealousy, bitterness, unforgiveness, selfishness, anger, judgment, criticism, comparison, control. What else is manipulation?
Yes.
What else did I miss?
Sowing I guess sowing discord is how I would say it, that backbiting, talking about each other. There's just so many things that we hold against each other and that we do to one another that's extremely toxic.
Extremely toxic. So this is a short list of toxins that we give permission to in our lives, in our relationships, that truly rule and reign. They literally govern our decisions.
Yeah.
They are the ones that have the power. So anger, the bitterness, the jealousy is what directs not only your thoughts, but your actions as well. So
Absolutely.
so if you are jealous of your sister, or if you are envious, or you're comparing yourself to someone, and unfortunately we live in a society where everything is surrounded by social media, right?
Yeah.
And social media breeds comparison. because you see people and what they have and everything that they have, the only things that they've posted, right? And you see that as a really, I don't know, the story of their lives. And
Right.
that's not the whole story.
Right.
That is not the whole story.
Exactly.
Right. And so we want to talk a little bit about ways that you can become a little more aware, a more in tune, more conscious of ways that you can be mindful of the toxins that you allow into your heart, into your mind, into
Mhm.
your relationships, into your finances, into your life,
Mhm.
into your careers, your businesses, into your children, those that you pass down to your children. They're very real,
Yeah.
very real.
Yeah.
Sis, so tell us a little bit about what you see when it comes to toxins that we as women allow into our hearts and into our minds.
Wow. Well, first of all, I just want to emphasize the fact that we allow them, we choose this. And sometimes it's subconscious, it's not something that like, I just want to be bitter or I just want to be angry. That's not how that works. But I believe it's foundational. To me, it all goes back to the foundation of things, of who we are. And when we don't know who we are, it's very easy to be told who we are. And so we then begin to embrace these mindsets, or we embrace these toxins that then begin to infiltrate and develop us into something we never wanted to be or intended to be.
Mhm.
And so for us, it's about identifying and acknowledging who we were created to be first and foremost, so that you can then begin to recognize who you're not. A really great example. My daughter, she's just really been having a wonderful time with the Lord and just, developing her relationship with the Lord. And then she started having these thoughts come into her mind that were contrary to what, or was opposite of what she was believing, like just crazy things, like, oh, God's stupid, or God's this, or God's that, or he doesn't like you, or this or that. And I said to her, I said, this is where you have to know you. That's not your thought. You have to recognize what is your thought and what is a thought that is infiltrating, a thought that is trying to take over, a thought that is being interjected. And I said, and then you now have to make the decision that you're going to change that thought and align it with truth. And so it's the same way in relationships, it's the same way with your relationship with yourself, which is so important, that you have a healthy regard for yourself, that you begin to speak to yourself, not speaking negative or death or toxic things, or you're fat, or you ugly, or, you don't have yourself together, girl. By this time, you should be here, 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 and here. And you should be doing this and doing that. Look at that mistake that you made. You should have took that job. You should have did this. And so when you begin to speak those lies to yourself, or even if they're factual things, right? Those things may have happened. It's a fact. But the truth always trumps that. And the truth is that you have been bought with a price. You are purposed. You've been created to do what God's anointed you to do. And that he's going to lead you and guide you into those things. And even if you're not there right now, the hope is that he's declared your end from the beginning. And so we have to learn to align ourselves with the truth first and foremost. Because if we can't be true to ourselves about who we are, it's going to be very difficult to do that and keep toxicity out of relationships with other women.
So good. Yes, yes, yes. And so let's start with the first point we want to make. And the first point we want to make is, number one, use a death jar. Like, let's talk a little bit what that is. So when I had 3 babies in 3 years, and I always wanted to create a space for them that was very intentional. And so when they got a little bit older and they were able to start talking, so we're talking like 4, 5, 6, right? Whenever they would say, "I can't do it," or I don't know how, or any of those, I was prompted to say, oh, the power of life and death is in your tongue. So what you speak literally will happen is it aligns your belief to what it is that you're speaking. So if you said, I can't do it, guess what? You can't do it. If you say, oh, I don't know how, guess what? You don't know how. So that's speaking death. So because they were young kids, I literally created a jar. This isn't the jar, but I wanted to give you an example of a jar. And we have these, you could do jelly beans, you could do coffee beans, but these are little hearts, right? That represent negative thoughts. It represents the death out of our mouths that we speak, that we think, right? That we believe, that do not align with the truth of what is actually going on. So if you say, oh, I can't do it, that's not true. If you can do it, and you have to align yourself to really believe that you can do it. But if you've been told that you can't do it, if you've been told that you're dumb, if you've been told that you're stupid, if you're been told that you're not good enough, what? That narrative now becomes your thoughts, it becomes your words, and it becomes your corrupted truth.
Right.
So with the death jar, any negative thought, if you were to track it for 24 hours, you'd be amazed at how many of these things fill up your jar.
Yes.
If every thought
yes.
that you think that is negative or that is judgmental of yourself or others, that is criticizing, that is rejecting, that is harmful and toxic to your own heart, you would be amazed. Sis, have you ever experienced, you've done the death jar before?
Well, okay. So we've started the death jar. We've done this at work. We've done this with negative talk. We've done this with the kids. And I think, I don't keep a track of that. So no, I don't do the death jar all the time. However, I do remind myself of when I am talking or saying things that are not right, holding myself accountable, which would lead me to the next point. You have to get to a place where you recognize and own your feeling, what you're feeling in that moment, especially when it doesn't line up with truth. So you have to own your feelings and acknowledge them. It's like, you know what? You're really talking negative right now. Like nothing you're saying is full of life. So you're going to have to what is that? Flip it and reverse it. We're going to have to flip that thing and reverse it, right? We're going to have to, we're going to have to reverse that, right? And we're going to have to start speaking what is true, speaking that life. And that comes with practice because it's so easy to complain. It's so easy to go down that negative Nelly path and just wah, 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 wah. Yeah. But that's what sisterhood is for, right?
Yes.
Because will you hold me accountable, sis? Oh, yes, you will.
And this is it's so true because I've even implemented the death jar with my girls, with my friends, with my sisters. Yeah. And listen, it was like you put $1 in the jar for every negative thing you say about yourself. Oh, I look fat today. Oh, I don't like my hair today. Do you know some of my girls I've gotten over the years easily $100, easily because of that piece. So yes, sisterhood, we hold each other accountable to those negative things that we say out of our mouths and think about ourselves for sure.
Absolutely. Got to take those thoughts captive. That's important.
Yes. Yeah. So when you own your feelings and you acknowledge them, what do? You said you flip it, but so do you just say it but you don't believe it?
Well, I don't even know if you don't believe it. I think I think you just have to say it because it's true. We have to continue to speak those things that are true. The word tells us to think on those things that are true and that are lovely and that are praiseworthy and that are good report. And it's the same thing. If the word says life and death is in the power of the tongue, and they that love it will eat the fruit of it. So it depends on what type of fruit you want to eat. Do you want to eat good fruit? Or do you want to eat rotten fruit? You want to eat dead fruit? And so we're adults, right? You have to get to the point where you can grab yourself up in your own chest. Girl, get it together.
I love that. Grab
that.
yourself in your own chest.
Get it. You're going to have to do it.
That's
You're going to have to grab yourself up and remind yourself of truth. You know, we get to those places where we'll come to ourselves, just like who came to themselves? Samson, remember? Yes. He shook himself. He came to himself, you know, and by that time it was too late. So don't let it be too late. Don't shake yourself and let it be too late, but grab yourself up and remind yourself of who you are.
That is so good. So let's move to number 3. So address offense.
Yes.
This is
juicy.
Big one. Juicy, like you said, juicy one, because how often are we offended? And the thing is like anything and everything can offend us, right?
Absolutely.
And it also could depend on the day. We might be having a bad day and the smallest little thing will offend us because someone didn't, turn their blinker on or like give you the thank you wave because you left them in, and then you get mad and drive around them to get back in front because they didn't say thank you, right? Like all of the offense is so magnanimous. So I want to just explain something about offense and the cycle of offense. There are 4 stages of offense, but I'm going to talk about 6 stages. So the first stage, whenever you're offended, is shock. When somebody does something or says something that offends you, the first thing you're like, shock, right?
Absolutely.
God, I cannot believe they said that, or I can't believe that they did that, right? That is stage number 1. Stage number 2 is anger. And then you're like, yo, I cannot believe they had the nerve to do that. Can you believe they did that to me? Like, right? And then you're anger. So shock is stage number 1. Anger is stage number 2. Stage number 3 is sorrow. Now, this is more than just a bad hair day or you're just, blue. This is a deep-rooted sorrow where your heart hurts, your heart aches. So I want you to think about, if you're married and your husband steps out and has an affair, right? This is a deep-rooted sorrow, right? So you've got shock, first stage. Second stage is anger. Third stage is sorrow. The fourth stage is acceptance, right? And so, okay, we've accepted it. We've cried. We've dealt with it. And then now what? Now, what typically happens, generation after generation after generation, right? Relationship after relationship after relationship, is if there is an offense that is unaddressed or unrecognized, what happens is it goes in this cycle. And the 4 stages, it goes back and forth: shock, anger, sorrow, acceptance, back to anger, back to shock, then sorrow, then back to shock, then back to sorrow, then back to shock, then back to anger, then to acceptance. And it goes round and round and round. And people think that time will be enough to allow them to get over the fence. But we don't realize that around the corner, there's a song that reminds you of the person that offended you. And sure enough, it triggers you right back into shock or right back into anger. And it's like a pinball machine, back and forth, back and forth. And then, even think about relationships, right? Where you grow up in a family and your uncles and aunts, they said, well, we don't talk to the Smiths down the street. Now, you have never had any relationship with the Smiths, but you grow up in this family saying that we don't talk to the Smiths, right? And you're like, okay, why? Because there was some level of offense with your great uncle and the great uncle of the Smiths, and now the Smiths and the Johnsons don't like each other. This is passed down generationally. So offenses can be passed down generationally. The only thing that will help you get out of this vicious cycle of offense is forgiveness. So when you offer forgiveness, I want to bring this back. When you offer forgiveness, literally, it will catapult you out of
Yes.
this vicious cycle of offense to
Mhm.
the sixth stage, which is healing. So
Amen.
when you
Yes.
offer forgiveness, forgiveness is not something that happens when, a year goes by or 2 weeks go by or 10 days go by or 2 years go by. Forgiveness is actually something that you have to gift. Forgiveness, oh, what is that? That's not good, right? Forgiveness is a gift.
Amen.
You
Yes.
have to gift, literally, you have to make the decision to gift forgiveness to somebody who offended you. Now, I want you to imagine a beautiful present and, with a pretty bow and, those great presents that you pay a whole bunch of money at Nordstrom's or Bloomingdale's to get somebody to wrap it for you. Like the edges are crisp and clean and the bow, you don't want to even crush it and put it in the bag because it's so beautiful,
Mhm.
right? This is
Mhm.
forgiveness. Now, if you give this to the person that offended you, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, thank you so much." And they reach out, right, to take this gift,
Mhm.
but you're still holding on to it because you really want to punish them because they offended you. You really
Right.
want to hold it over their head because you really haven't forgiven them because how could you? Because he had an affair and then there was a child as a result, or he, you know, killed your child, right? Like really big deal things. It's
Yep.
almost impossible to think about forgiving somebody for something like this. But you now have carried this burden and this weight and this unforgiveness in your heart that is eating you up because now you're bitter and you're angry and you
Mm.
are unapproachable and you hate life. You don't like men because every man has cheated on you. And now who is suffering? You are suffering.
Yep. That
You
is
are
so true.
suffering. You are suffering. And so I want to encourage you. I had the beautiful opportunity to be a part of this book. There are 22 stories in here. It's called The Gift of Forgiveness. It's written by Katherine Schwarzenegger Pratt. And I had the beautiful opportunity to just be interviewed by this amazing woman and really talk about my ability to gift. I'm actually, I don't remember what number I am, but that's me. And so the gift of forgiveness, and I had to make the decision to forgive my husband when he had an affair. And that was 2012. So that was years ago, but it was a decision.
Yeah.
And I am so grateful that I did. We are literally moved to a place where we were happier than we ever were before, but it was a decision that I had to make.
Mhm.
You'll never feel like forgiving, right? The mental movies of the offense can take you down
Mhm.
alone. The mental
Yeah.
movie of the offense of someone, of what somebody has done to offend you, can take you out
Mhm.
of life if you let it. And so, um, offense, offering offense is a big, big, big deal. And so, and that really moves us to this one right here. This, take it away.
Learn to love anyway. That is probably the biggest of them all. Forgiveness is a wonderful gift, but we can forgive people and kind of like just push them to the side. And it doesn't mean that they're not forgiven, but there isn't restoration there. And many times there shouldn't be restoration. But then there are times, you know what? It's like love anyway. Do what love would do and show up how love would show up and love anyway. So when people offend you, you have a choice. Do I take this offense and hold on to it? I'm going to offer forgiveness right away and I'm going to love anyway. I'm going to respond in the opposite spirit. And when you respond in the opposite spirit, you actually throw the person off because they're not expecting it. It's kind of like a weird kind of like left hook, you know what I mean? It's one of those things where I'm going to respond to you in a way you weren't expecting because I want to leave the door open for myself, as well as for you to receive what God has for me. You know, the biggest way to block your blessing is to not forgive and to get out of walking in love. We have to be a reflection of God. Like, if God can forgive us of all the things that we've done, like past, present, future, forgive.
Yeah.
And when you can't forgive one person for something they may have done to you 25 years ago that you still holding on to that she did to you in kindergarten and y'all like 70 years old, like it's time. It's really time to
Oh,
love anyway and restore those relationships that need to be restored and offer the gift of love, that unconditional love. It is absolutely transformational, and you'll see great things happen.
absolutely. And I think also to your point that so many people don't really know what unconditional love is. They don't know
True.
what unconditional love looks like or feels like.
Mhm.
And so their interpretation of love is a grudge,
Right.
right? Or their interpretation of love a um, is manipulation, where they pull
Mhm.
their love away, right? As
Mhm.
opposed to pressing into the discomfort of learning how to love anyway.
Yeah.
And that's what we want to teach you here at Love and Sisterhood. We want to teach you and just be very transparent and vulnerable with you as we share our experiences and our life's experiences and the things that we're going through, to just share how challenging it has been for us and what we've done to overcome them, so that it
Mhm.
really encourages you as well to overcome your challenges in learning to
Right.
love anyway and learning to press in when you don't feel like it because
Mm.
it doesn't feel good and you're afraid of
Okay.
rejection, right? You're
Yeah.
afraid of rejection if you press in and love anyway and they still pull their love away or they still don't
Mhm.
respond. But guess what? You're the one who frees you up by
Come on.
doing everything that you needed to do to just move to a place of freeing yourself, freeing your heart and your
Yeah.
mind and the burden of the anger and the disgust and the hurt and the brokenness that you felt from offense or from
Mhm.
rejection or from not really understanding what love was supposed to
Mhm.
mean in God's interpretation and his definition of it, because he's the one who created it,
That's right. That's right.
right?
Good.
And so, sis, you want to go ahead and just remind people of the 5 points?
Yeah. So we're gonna have a death jar for sure. You want to own your feelings. You want to address the offense. Don't shrink back from that. You know, definitely address it because offense will continually, just like what offense will do, it will drive a wedge between you. Give the gift of forgiveness. It's such a beautiful gift to give. And forgiveness, y'all, is for you. It's not even for the person. You know, we have to forgive because we were forgiven.
Mhm.
And lastly, love anyway. Be the person who's going to be the character of God. Love anyway and empower yourself to continue to build strong relationships.
That's so good. And so we've talked a lot about blind spots today, ladies, and thank you so much for hanging in there with us and in Sisterhood in 60. And um, we really want to continue the conversation. So we want to invite you to join us over on our Facebook page.
Mhm.
So facebook.com Love and Sisterhood. You can join us there. We can finish the conversation. If there are things that you've gotten out of this Sisterhood in 60 segment or this show, please share it with us, because we'd love to really talk with you about it and through it. And if there are things that we can do to encourage you or give you ideas or suggestions or help hold you accountable, we want to do that in our Facebook group. So please join us over there. In addition to, be sure to subscribe below to Sisterhood in 60 so that you also get the notifications. So turn on the bell so that you can get the notifications. We're here every Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we also want to make sure that if you have not joined our e-newsletter community, please do so as well. And join us at bit.ly/join love and sisterhood. And so, sis, I would love for you to close us out with any final words of encouragement.
Ladies, it's so important for us to have clean beauty in our lives, holistically, spirit, soul, and body. So may I encourage you, if you can't go out and buy everything that you need as far as clean beauty is concerned, pick the things that are important and begin to make the switch and the transfer, just like the same with your mind. Begin one thought at a time, tearing down those thoughts, exchanging them for truth, and you will see that clean beauty shine through holistically. It's going to be a great journey.
Love you, ladies. Thanks again for joining.
Love you, ladies.